If you are parenting with a toxic ex and you are facing parental alienation, you probably feel that if you put boundaries in place or respect yourself enough to restrict your children and the things that they do, that you are going to lose your children. And I'm here to tell you that you can let go of this fear and healing yourself will help you to heal your children and hopefully heal your relationship with them as well. So, welcome back to Be the Light in Their Storm, where we talk about parenting with a toxic ex partner, parental alienation, and healing yourself to be in a better place to be there for your children like they need you to be. So, my ex in the beginning of our separation and divorce, he tried for a long time to get me to just walk away. He wanted me out of my children's life, not so much because he wanted the children, but because he wanted to win. He wanted to take away from me the one thing that he knew I cared about and that I loved, and that was my children. So he tried for a very long time to paint me as a bad parent, to get me to up and just leave my kids. And he told me several times, you should just leave, and I've got the kids. You don't need to be here. You didn't want them anyway. He tried. He said, he put it all out there. And there were times where he tried to take them from me. He told me one time that he was moving to Tennessee and taking them with him. And he created this environment and this fear within me that he was going to take them from me. And that fear stuck with me for a very long time. I held on so tightly to trying to protect my children and keeping them away from experiencing the abuse that I did with my ex, that, and then this fear that my ex created on top of it, that he was, going to do and try everything he could to take them away from me, just made me hold on that much tighter. So for me, it was a huge fear of letting go and putting boundaries in place and creating a safe place for myself in this environment, because I was so afraid that my children were going to leave me and that he was going to find a way to take them away from me, or that, he was just going to shower them with money and gifts and everything they wanted to where they would choose him over me. That I kept myself stuck. I kept myself in this constant vicious cycle of, picking up the pieces when they would come here and putting them back together so they would go back to my ex's house with being positive and happy, only to get knocked back down again and come. So it was this vicious cycle that I was in, and I was afraid to put boundaries in place when the negativity came over here, because there was already wedges created between me and my kids with the alienation, that I was afraid that if I pushed too hard, that those wedges were just going to grow and grow and I was going to lose them. So for me, it's not been an easy process to let go of that fear, but I have been able to let go of that fear through a lot of working through my own issues and healing myself, and accepting and recognizing that I do have a good relationship with my children, and that I am a constant in their life, and I am providing them things that they're not getting from their dad. And it's helped to it's helped me to be able to put boundaries in place and ask things of them and have the consequences when they do things that I'm not okay with, that I don't feel like they're going to just walk away. And getting to that place, that was a lot of working through my insecurities around being a good parent and being enough for them, and being able to acknowledge that they are on their own journey here on this earth, and no matter how much I want to hold on and try and protect them, that I can't, and that they need to walk their own path on this earth in order for them to grow and become the person that they were meant to be. And also allowing myself to be vulnerable with them and let them see, me cry, and let me see me working on myself and healing, and to start to really, help them start to recognize feelings and things that they are going through, and giving them a voice and allowing them to have, their opinions and their insights, and not arguing with them if it doesn't agree or match with my own opinions or insights. So the more I've been able to heal myself and really start to give that back to my children and show them how to heal, and that they can be, that they are supported by a parent, and that they can have an opinion and a voice, and it's not going to be met with argument or disregard or rejection. And being vulnerable with them was a huge thing for me, but letting myself be vulnerable with them and putting this out to them, I think really gave not only myself a sense of security, but also them. So, I still have, everyone's going to have a fear of losing their children if you're not completely alienated from them, because the alienation is still there. It's still going on if they're, still going back and forth between both houses. So there's always going to be a small level of fear, but I think that I've been able to accept that my children are going to do what they're going to do. And if they feel that, they need to spend more time here or there in order to feel more secure and safe in their own life and on their own journey, then I need to be okay with that. I need to support them through that. And even though it may tear me up inside and I may not agree with it, I still need to be there for them. I'm still going to be present there for them. And they know that, they can come to me for certain things, and that their needs are going to be met. And they're getting that from me and not from the other parent. And even though the toxicity is still there, it's giving them more freedom to feel safe in their environment, whatever that environment may be for them. And if they are in this, toxic survival mode situation, their security and their place that they feel safest could be that environment, because it's it lines up with their nervous system, and the fact that they're stuck in this fear of getting in trouble, or this fight, flight, freeze, fawn state, and their nervous system is more at ease when they're in this heightened environment, because when they're in a calmer environment, their body doesn't know how to react to it. So being able to see it from all these different angles and perspectives, and understanding that, them maybe wanting to spend more time with their dads really has nothing to do with me, helps. It really does, because I know that they love me, and I know that they're gonna be here for me to the capacity that they can be, and it's nothing against me as a person or as a mother that they lash out like they do, or they have their moments, or they want to spend more time with their dads, or they want to do a sleepover with their dads, versus here it's they're living their life and they're on their journey, and I'm gonna support them, whatever that may be, and guide them the best that I can, but giving them that space and letting go and working through that fear that I was going to lose them has actually brought us closer together than we were when I was carrying that fear and I was living by that fear. So releasing fear and working through fear is a very deep feeling and emotion of being scared and looking for the worst possible outcome. We're programmed to be that way because we're coming out of toxic relationships and situations, and we could have had childhoods that were toxic and traumatic, and so part of us is programmed to lean on and live in that worst case scenario because that's where we probably feel most of our life has been. So it's not an easy switch around to move from that place of living in fear and having these doubts and concerns that kind of lead the way to acceptance of the situations that we're in and the situation our children are in, and just being more present and being the best person that we can be for them on our own journey is really where the rubber's going to meet the road, and you're going to be able to move forward in a more positive way once you kind of have that acceptance. So finding that acceptance is going to be different for everybody, and we're all going to have our own things that are going to hold us back, and that fear is going to sit around of losing our children or not feeling good enough for our children, all those fears that come up, and especially losing them. A parent, you always hear people talk about parents that have children that die, and children should never die before the parents, and the loss that they must feel. But when you are living with parental alienation and you are watching your children be taken from you in pieces, and you have to mourn the loss of a child that is standing in front of you, or a couple miles away, another person's house, or the toxic person's house, and it's a heartache that no person should have to feel, because your child is still alive, your child is still here, and you can't show them the love that you have for them. You can't provide them like a parent should, and that's a really hard place to be in, and it's a very emotional place to be in. So that fear of losing your children when you are dealing with parental alienation is real, and part of being able to move past that fear may be having to learn and processing through the emotions of losing that child, and accepting that if they do decide to not come back and see you again, like, you need to work through those feelings now the best that you can. I'm not saying they're not going to come back up, and I'm not saying that they're not going to be amplified if that day does come, but you need to work through it enough to where you are okay with knowing that that's a possibility, and that it's not sitting under the surface as a reactive thing that's holding you back, because it may never happen. They may not fully be alienated from you. There's still going to be that degree of alienation in there that you can work on healing. But for me, at least, it was helpful to kind of really accept that if, this does happen and they do end up fully alienated from me, that it's a possibility. And I worked through the emotions and feelings of losing a child and never seeing them again in order to be able to really accept it and move past that fear of losing them, because I've mourned to some extent the already losing them. So it's not something that holds me back from putting my boundaries in place and parenting from a place of love that works for me, and allowing us to move forward. So I really hope that this video helps you and gives you some insight into ways that you can move past the fear of losing your kids to get to a better place. And I am a holistic life coach and mind body practitioner. So I do have private sessions available. If anyone is interested and would like to work further to work through some of this, you can message me down below and I will reach back out to you. Otherwise, stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Infinite love and infinite love and gratitude. Namaste.